What is up everyone, Jin Hao here, back with another GPU mining rig build video. So in this video, I'll be building a 4x RTX3060 GPU mining rig, and it will be mining Ethereum and getting payout in Bitcoin with 2 miners mining pool. And the operating system that I'll be using is HiveOS. So if you want to know how to configure everything in HiveOS, stick until the end of this video. And also I'll be using the 100% hash rate unlock miners to hopefully achieve 200 mega hash from this mining rig build, because this RTX3060 can theoretically get 50 mega hash per second mining Ethereum. Now first, let me explain why are we mining Ethereum and getting payout in Bitcoin. The reason is because this is not my build, I'm building for someone else, and this is the first time she ventured into GPU mining. So with 200 mega hash mining Ethereum, it still takes quite a long time to get 0.1 Ethereum, which is the classic payout threshold for most mining pools out there. Now, I know there are workarounds on this, but for a person who just got started, I reckon it would be easier to just mine to 2 miners, and then once it hit the 0.005 ETH, it will convert into, BTC and pay out into her wallet. I think this will be very straightforward. She doesn't have to care about gas fee and things of that nature. All right, so that's the drill for today, and let me just quickly introduce you the guest of honor of today. So this is the GPU that we are working with, the RTX3060, and this is by Galax. It has like dual fans and one single 8-pin. So powering this GPU is going to be fairly straightforward, and we have 4 of these GPUs right over here. And next we have PCIe risers, and of course PCIe splitters, which we're going to need later for this build. And for the power supply, we will be using this 1000 watt EVGA G+, which is a gold rated power supply, and I've already taken out the necessary strands and cable for this particular build. And after that, I have some screwdrivers here. Just let me explain this. Okay, we'll be using a thumb drive for this build for now. All right, so I want a quick turnover, so that's why I'm using this thumb drive. I've already preloaded HiveOS into this, and if you want to know how to load this, okay, remember, watch the full step-by-step mining rig build guide I explained in that video as well. And just because I want to do it fast, so this time around I'm using a thumb drive. All right, and also because I do not have enough LAN cable in my space right now in this studio, so while building this thing and testing out everything, I'll be using Wi-Fi. So I have a Wi-Fi dongle here as well. So once the rig is completed, I'll move to other place and use a LAN cable. All right, and let's go to this. Now we bought this entire thing used at a very cheap price. For if we convert to US dollar, it should be around 120 to 130 US dollar. So it includes the mining rig frame, which is a classic one, and for the motherboard, it is the BioStar TB250 BTC, which is a mining motherboard with 6 PCIe slots. And the processor inside, I believe, is a G3900, the Celeron processor, or things along those lines. And we already have an 8GB just normal Corsair value RAM installed. So I don't even bother to remove this thing, and yeah, because it's already there and it's working, so no point to take it out and things like that. So in this video, I'm just going to show you the process. I'm not going to talk about things in the very detailed manner, because I've already made a complete guide on how you can do and build a GPU mining rig just like this one. There's a step-by-step guide for beginners, for first-timers, so I'll link up in the top right corner. That video includes how you can load HiveOS into the SSD or thumb drive. So with that getting out of the way, let me just tidy up this table a little bit, and we will start working on this rig. Alright, so the first step is usually installing the CPU onto the motherboard, and then the CPU cooler, install the RAM, and then we I'm going to feed the motherboard onto the mining rig frame. But because this is already done, I'll proceed into installing the cables onto the power supply and then feed the power supply on the mining rig frame. So the cables needed, I've already taken out them, is the power cord, of course, and then the thickest of the whole bunch is the 24-pin motherboard strand, and then we have a CPU strand, right? So this, I believe this is a this is a PCIe. We have a total of 4 PCIe strands that we need, which is also known as a VGA. Where is my CPU strand? Right, is this? No, not this. All right, let me find. All right, I found you. Okay, so this is a CPU strands, whereby it says CPU right over here, and it's a 4+4 pin. The rest here are PCIe strands, whereby you have a 6+2 pin at the other end. So one great thing about the EVGA power supply is that you get dedicated CPU ports on the power supply right over here. So it doesn't share the VGA or PCIe ports on the power supply, meaning that you can potentially use up to like 6 PCIe strands to power your GPU without, affecting like any CPU strand, because it has 2 dedicated CPU power, ports on this power supply. So I'm just going to do this very quickly, and we will be back in a sec. Alright, so I have fitted the power supply onto the mining rig frame, and also all the necessary cables have already been plugged onto the power supply. Next thing, what I want to do is install and plug in the motherboard 24 pins onto the motherboard, just like this, as well as the CPU strand in a bit. So this is the toughest, to work with. Alright, so it is in, and then what we need is the CPU 8 pin, the 4+4 pin, and it will usually go onto the top of the motherboard. Right. Alright, so for the next step, I'll be plugging in this to the AC power, and I will bring in my monitor and keyboard. We're going to do a bunch of settings in the BIOS, and then plug our thumb drive that already has a HiveOS preloaded in it, and then let's see if HiveOS can recognize it, and I will go into the web GUI and reconfirms that as well. So let's do it. Alright, so I have everything plugged in. Let me just turn on the monitor and then turn on this power supply. So it directly turned on without me pressing the power switch. I wonder if we can go into the motherboard BIOS. So it says TB250, and we are now in the BIOS. So the first thing, let me just cycle through. So under mains, there's nothing to really change. So let's go through this NVMe USB CPU. It seems like nothing is here. Onboard device, mining mode is already enabled. Onboard device, let's see what is this. All right, we doesn't need that. Okay, PCI Express configuration. It is all set at auto. Usually that is not really a big issue, but let's just skip that first. Okay, for boot, start. Okay, let's go to fast boots, SM. Okay. New boot option. So there is no options, seems like there is no options that allows me to turn on AC power loss. I wonder if is it because this is a mining motherboard and it doesn't have any of those settings for me to do that. So seems like everything is fine, right? So let's just quit, and what I want to do is turn off this. So it seems like there is nothing to really change in the motherboard BIOS, because there's no AC power loss and the mining mode is already enabled. What I want to do next is actually plug in this thumb thumb drive which has a HiveOS preloaded in it and turn on and see whether it would directly boot into HiveOS. So let me just plug in this thumb drive, turn on the AC power, and it turns on automatically. So let's see if we can boot into HiveOS. Alright, so it booted into the HiveOS. Now let me just go ahead and grab my laptop and see whether or not it would be reflected in the web GUI. Alright, so we have successfully booted into the HiveOS and also it is being shown on the web GUI. You can see that there is a motherboard TB250 BTC BioStar and there's an Intel Celeron G3900 CPU inside there, and of course there is no GPU installed just yet, and there's a missing flight sheet. There's no miner. No worries on that. We are going to install the GPUs first, and then what we're going to do is actually boot into HiveOS, update the HiveOS version, update the miner and everything, and do a bunch of configuration and get it up and running. So let me just tidy up this and we are going to proceed to the GPU installation. Alright, so the GPUs are back onto the working table and we are going to have a fun time right now. So next step is of course installing the GPU. So let me just explain how the GPUs are going to be installed. So I have a couple of splitters here and also PCIe risers. So I have 4 splitters and also 4 PCIe risers. So in a pack of these splitters, what you will usually get is of course the X1 adapter and the X16 slot where your GPUs are going to be mounted into, and this particular riser has 6 pin at the front and also 6 pin at the side. So there's no Molex, no SATA, and you'll get a USB cable and also this 6 pin to SATA adapter. So this thing is definitely going to be thrown. Do not use this thing as I've explained in my parts guide as well as my mining rig build guide. So let me just put this to a side, right? And the way we are going to install is just like pretty much any other mining rig build, GPU mining rig build. The first thing that we're gonna do is of course plugging this X1 slot onto the motherboard and then the PCIe slot, and then plug in this USB cable. And of course, next we have to plug in this into the USB port on the riser, and the GPU has to be fitted onto the X16 slot right over here, just like this. And I love these GPU risers because it has a butterfly clip right over here. And let's just put it here first, and let me explain. Well, that's a bad idea. Let me put this down. Now, the way we're going to power this is actually like this. So we have a strand, 8-pin strand coming out from the power supply, and we're going to utilize these splitters. So we are going to plug this splitter in, and what this splitter does is essentially giving us dual 8-pin. So one of the 8-pin is going into the GPU itself, just like this. Whoops. Just like this. And for another 8-pin right over here, we're going to detach. We are going to detach the 2 pins. Let me just try to detach it. Damn, this is tough. It needs a lot of force. Okay, so I have detached that. And what we're going to do is essentially plug into the 6-pin on the riser side. So anyone will do it. It can be at the back or the ports in front. So just like this. So this is basically how we are going to power and plug in all the GPUs here. So I'm just going to quickly, assemble all these things and boot it up again. And you will see the time lapse right now. Alright, so the 4 GPUs have been installed onto the system, and I have just double checked every single connections secured and properly installed. And also, very importantly, okay, you do not want any cables hitting the fans and things like that. And right now, I guess I'll just bring up the AC power and boot the rig, and then we'll do a bunch of configuration in HiveOS. Alright, so right now, let me just turn on the rig and see if everything goes well. Alright, so all the risers LED are lighting up. Power supply, fan is spinning, CPU cooler is also spinning, and we'll give it a couple of seconds for it to boot into HiveOS, get connected to the internet because we are using Wi-Fi, so it's going to be a little bit slower. And because we are also using USB stick, thumb drive to boot our HiveOS, so things are going to be a little bit slower. So let us just give it a few seconds, and I will see you in HiveOS Web GUI. Alright, so we are now in the HiveOS Web GUI, so everything has been reflected in the system. So we can see that there are 4 units of RTX3060s. So, and then what we can see here, the driver's version is 510.60.02, which is the the NVIDIA drivers that we need. So the first thing I would want to do is actually just upgrade, okay, to the latest HiveOS, because it will update, okay, a lot of miners that can do, you know, the 100% LHR unlock. So I will do a force upgrade here, and once everything has been updated, it will reboot, and we will go into setting our wallets and also then the flight sheet. So be right back. Alright, so the update has been done. You can see that there is no more update right over here. So meaning that we are now running with the latest HiveOS. So the first thing that we need to do is head over to flight sheet, and it would say that, okay, we do not have any flight sheet, and we have to go to our list of flight sheet. And before we create a flight sheet, we need to create the wallet first. So again, as mentioned just now, what we're going to do for this mining rig is actually mining Ethereum and getting payout in Bitcoin with 2 miners pool. So a lot of people make a mistake here while configuring a wallet for this, is that they go into entering a Bitcoin address. So what you need to do is actually go to create a wallet, and you have to click Ethereum, but at the address here, you're going to paste your Bitcoin wallet. So after you have pasted your Bitcoin wallet, you're just going to name your wallet. So you can name it ETH BTC, so that you know that this is actually a Bitcoin address. And what you need to do is just save as global wallet and then click create. So after you have created your wallet, what you can do is add a flight sheet. So we're going to mine Ethereum with our into our ETH BTC wallet, and we're going to use 2 miners pool. Okay, just turn on, and I'm from Asia, so I'm just going to tick Asia and click apply. So the miner, what I want to try is actually the NB miner, because I have been having great experience with NB miners so far with the 100% hash rate unlock. And I'm just going to name the flight sheet ETH BTC /2 miners, and then /NB miners, so that I know that what this flight sheet is all about. And then I'm just going to create a flight sheet. So after I've created a flight sheet, what I have to do is actually go to my workers, okay, and then go to flight sheet, select the flight sheet by clicking the rocket button and send to the moon. Just going to click apply here, and then just click it again, and it should be configuring up and mining Ethereum and, you know, getting payout in Bitcoin later. So the rig config has done. What we can do is go back to overview, and right now we need to set, you know, an overclock for this GPU. Just very quickly, I'm going to tune all at once. Okay, so I have already reviewed the RTX3060 for the mining performance. So if you want to know the mining performance, overclock and undervolt settings for this GPU, just for your reference, okay, I'll link it at the top right corner in a YouTube card. and you can go and check out the review of the mining performance of this RTX 3060. So what I'm going to do here is just start overclocking, okay, put an absolute core clock of, let's just try 1450 first. Memory clock, I will go for 2600. Fan, I'll just go for 65 first. And with absolute core clock, meaning that a locked core clock, we actually do not need any power limit, but just for the sake of like safety, I'll just put 135 and then click save. And it should apply these overclock settings to all the GPUs here. And I realized that it hasn't started mining, and this is probably because it is still updating, downloading the latest miner, okay, into the operating system. So we will be back once it starts hashing. All right, so it is up and mining right now. You can see that GPU 0 is getting 48 mega hash, the second is 47.78, and then 47.78 mega hash, which is very great. And I realized that the temps are quite okay as well with 65 fans, probably because I have my AC turned on right now while recording this video. So what I want to try is actually give it a little bit more core clock at 1550 and see whether it does anything. So just to show you that if you want to, look at how the miner is doing, you can actually go to Hive Shell Start, okay, remote access Hive Shell Start, and then you can actually go inside and see the, the miners in action. Okay, so it is saying Hive Shell now, and you just wait until a small icon come out and you can click it. Then you can go to the miners inside this machine. All right, so you can click this, and then you can go to the shell in a box. All right, so it will give you a bunch of these, and what you need to do is actually type miner and then press enter. You will go into the miner and see the exact mining action of your rig, even if you're using HiveOS. So we are getting like 49.33 for every single GPU, which is great. And I just want to try, if I could, turn up the memory clock to 2700 and see whether it crashed or not. So right now it is mining at 49.33 megahash per second. And it is consuming like 113 to 121 watts, which I think is quite a standard hash rate performance and efficiency performance for this RTX 3060. So that's all, for this configuration. I would say the rest would be just like fine tuning and getting the hash rate that you want it to be. So ideally, I hope that this can, get the theoretical 200 megahash per second mining Ethereum, but those would be, just like fine tuning. Like right now, I can see that it's 49.6 around there. So if I want to push it to 50 megahash, let's see if I can do bump up the core clock and also a little bit of the memory clock and see whether or not it would go up a little bit higher, I just need a little bit more to achieve my 200 megahash. So to check your mining profits on the mining pool site, you just go to eth.2miners.com and then paste your wallet address here and hit the search icon. And then after that, you will see your mining statistic here, how much is the unconfirmed balance, unpaid balance, and all those things. Now you will know that you are mining Ethereum and getting payout in Bitcoin when you press account settings right over here and scroll all the way down, whereby you can actually set what's the minimum payout value that you want to put. So if you see 0.005 ETH and then it will like tell you like $9.17 slash how much BTC, then you know that you are getting payout in BTC. So you can change this and then you just click save to update everything. And right now, because I'm just starting to mine, so that's why you see everything here is just like, not yet being reflected into at the pool site. So after a couple of hours or at least a day, then things would be a little bit more accurate. So that would be all for this mining rig build video. All right, I hope that you have learned something from this. Okay, definitely this GPU mining rig here has still have the capability to accommodate two more graphics card GPU, and we have two more PCIe slots. We have like two more PCIe strands available on this power supply. The only thing we need to take care is what are the GPUs that we want to add. Okay, we cannot surpass too much of the power, because right now the mining rig is consuming, according to HiveOS, is 474. So we need to add another like 50 watts for the system, which would be like 530 watts, give or take. So I think it would be great for another two more RTX3060s. And with that, the caveat is the overclock does not reset, the undervolt does not reset. But by using HiveOS, things are usually a little bit more on the stable end. Even if it has problems, it wouldn't like everything wouldn't get into stock settings and start mining at the full TDP, put it in this way. So with that said, thanks for watching. I hope that you love this video. If you want to see more videos like this, more mining rig builds, do subscribe to my channel, turn on the notification bell, and yeah, you'll be notified when I post any new video. So just want to wrap up this video by saying that crypto prices are crashing right now. So mining is mining doom, depending on your electricity rate, I would say. In my country, my electricity cost is still quite affordable compared to the rest of the world. So I don't think our mining is doomed, just that the profitability is going to be affected. The most profitable coin is going to change from every now and then, especially when Ethereum moves into the merge. So definitely, I will keep mining. And yeah, with that said, thanks for watching, and I will see you when I see you. Peace out. So after some tweaking, I'm able to get 200 mega hash for this GPU mining rig, and in the software it is consuming 495 watts for the 4 GPUs, and I'm getting 50.1 mega hash for every GPUs for this mining rig build, with a core clock of 1600 and a memory at 2850. So yeah, 200 mega hash for this mining rig.